Quote of the day: Imagination is the secret compass of the soul. Sometimes it paints wild skies, sometimes quiet oceans, but it always leads you somewhere worth exploring. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 7. That is your quote of the day. Now let's get right into this video. Now I just finished up watching Worlds Collide and this show was absolutely amazing. This show was, oh my god, this was so entertaining. There was only one match I didn't like, and I'm pretty sure we got like 7 matches tonight. 7 matches on this card, and I only didn't like one of them. That's crazy, you know. This was so fun. This was a banger, you know. Most of the matches, like all of them except for one, and I'm gonna get this out the way right now. It was the Natalia versus Fabi Apache match. That match was kind of boring in my opinion, but everything else besides that was absolute banger after banger after banger. This was such an entertaining show. Matches were absolutely entertaining. We got funny matches, serious matches, and even shocking moments. And we got countless high-flying spots, countless crazy spots. This show was so fun to watch, you know? And I watched it immediately after SmackDown. And I thought it would be too much wrestling for me. I'd get bored, I'd get tired. But no, it kept me hooked, surprisingly. And I was entertained from start to finish. And that's how you know it's a good show. Like I said, I watched wrestling for like 5 hours tonight. So, you know, I'm a bit tired making this review. You know, bear with me. But, you know, I'm still thoroughly energetic and, you know, excited, you know, because I just watched Worlds Collide. And it was so fun, like I said. Anyhow, I'm just rambling at this point. Let's get right into the review. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happened, okay? So anyhow, we kicked off with Worlds Collide. And we kicked off with some important figures in the ring, you know? So it was pretty fun seeing, you know, Shawn Michaels, the AAA, you know, officials, and, you know, the people in charge of AAA. We saw Shawn Michaels, like I said, and some other important figures. So it was really fun seeing that. And then we kicked off with Ada Cuevas singing the Mexican national anthem. And after that, you know, she finished singing the Mexican national anthem and she said, "Viva Mexico," you know. And after that, we got Lillian Garcia singing the U.S. national anthem. And both of them, they sung really well and they performed everything very well, you know. So I'm copping it up for them. It was a really nice start to the show, you know, hearing both anthems, both national anthems. It was really nice and very respectful, and I enjoyed it. Anyhow, after this, we kicked off with a very heartfelt promo from Penta, you know, "Cero Miedo." So we kicked off with an in-ring promo from Penta, and Penta basically came out and he was talking about WWE and the AAA partnership. You know, he was talking about the magnitude of tonight and what all this means to him and everybody in attendance, what it means to everybody here in general. You know, so he was just giving a heartfelt speech about what all this means to him and what it means to everybody here. And he even took some verbal shots at Dominik Mysterio too, which I found pretty funny. But yeah, that was that. That's how we kicked off with an in-ring promo. And after this, we immediately jumped right into the action, and we got to our first match of the night, and it was an 8-man tag match. And it involved La Porca, Octagon Jr., Laredo Kid, and Masquerita Segurata versus Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, Lince Dorado, and Mini Abismo Negro. And I'm hoping I pronounced all these names correctly. I know I didn't. I'm sorry for any mispronunciations or anything, you know. These names, they're not my, like, usual pronunciations. Not like John Cena, you know, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, you know, Dirty Dominik Mysterio, you know. Not as simple to pronounce as those names. But anyhow, bear with me, and I'm sorry for any mispronunciations. But yeah, that's the match we started off with. And this match was very entertaining. The moves, the sequences, the unique superstars, you know, their appearances, the personas, everything was just fun to watch, and everything was just on point, you know. And we saw funny moments and a handful of high-flying moves. There was actually a scary botch. Right at the beginning of the match, we got a botch where they botched a Spanish fly. And it was, I think, Cruz del Toro and someone else. And they were supposed to do a Spanish fly, but like they literally almost landed on both of their necks. And I was like, oh man. But they, by some miracle, by the grace of God, they came out unscathed, you know, and they were fine. Anyhow, after this, we got a really funny spot where we saw a mini face-off. And it was a mini face-off because we saw 2 mini short men going at each other. You know, they were just fighting. I was like, it was so funny. You remember El Torito? It was kind of like that thing, but like less offensive. But like, yeah, it was kind of like El Torito and Hornswoggle, you know, facing off, but not really. We saw 2 short men and they were just standing there. They were fighting each other. They were doing high flying moves and they were doing like hurricanranas and everything. It was so entertaining. And to be formal, they were not midgets. They were vertically challenged superstars. Okay, that's what I'm calling it. I don't want to be offensive. I'm sorry. But anyhow, so we saw that, and the shortest one of the 2 short men ended up slamming everyone somehow. Like the shortest one, there was like 2 short people, 2 vertically challenged superstars, and the shortest one was slamming everyone. It doesn't matter how big you were, how small you were, how heavy you were, how light you were. He was slamming everyone, doing hurricanranas on everyone. I'm like, Jesus, dude, it was so fun watching that. And the funniest thing to me was that the match came down to the hands of the two shortest men in the match. It was so funny. They were the last two facing off, and it came down to them. Whoever picked up the pin won. And I was like, really? And it was so funny. So it came down to the shortest competitors. And the shortest one ended up picking up the win via roll up. The two short men, I don't know who's who, so I'm sorry that I can't name them right out. But, they were very entertaining nonetheless. Anyhow, after this, we got to our second match of the night, and it was a number one contenders match, and it was Natalya versus Fabi Apache. And Natalya is currently a heel down at AAA, so I found that pretty interesting. I don't know when the heel turn happened, but she's dressing differently, she's acting differently, she's a lot meaner, a lot more serious. So I found that pretty cool, that still at this stage in Natalya's career, so many years in, she's still trying to do something different, something cool, something innovative. And I'm gonna clap it up for her and give her credit and her props. But anyways, getting into the match, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said, this was a boring match. It was kind of boring in my opinion. Natalya was dominating for most of the match. She was just dismantling Fabi Apache. And Fabi got some offense here and there, but it was nothing crazy. But overall, I can't really say there was anything too memorable about this match or anything too worth rewatching, in my opinion. It was a solid match. It was a decent match, but it was boring in my opinion. That was that. Anyways, at the end of the match, Fabi Apache ended up trying to roll up Natalya, and Natalya ended up reversing the roll up into another roll up, and Natalya rolled up Fabi Apache for the win. And Natalya is still the best there was, the best there is, and the best there ever will be. And Natalya ended up picking up the win over Fabi Apache via roll up. And after this, we got to our third match of the night, and it was the AAA World Tag Team Championship match. And it was Psycho Clown and Pagano versus The New Day, Kofi Kingston, and Big G. Not Xavier Woods, because Xavier Woods is still injured from Penta hitting a Mexican Destroyer, right on his head. So yeah, that's the story anyway. Xavier Woods, quote unquote, had surgery and everything. So yeah, that's what he's telling people. Anyhow, we got to the match. And this was a really long match. Like, this match was really long. Like, it was getting near to the point at the end. I was like, dude, there's no way this is still going on. Because I'm like, I've been watching this for at least like 15, 20 minutes at this point, and it's still going on. Like, it wasn't boring by any means. It was fun. It had some good moments, some good spots, but it was just really long, But anyhow, this match was fun to watch, like I said, but it was just really long. And Xavier Woods was causing distractions throughout the whole entire match, and we got some heavy hitting moves and a lot of high flying moves, and really cool tag team sequences, seeing it from both tag teams, But anyways, at the end of the match, Big G, Grayson Waller ended up getting rolled up for the win, and Pagano and Psycho Clown ended up retaining their AAA World Tag Team Championships. After the match, Psycho Clown and Pagano got confronted by the Wyatt Six, which was an amazing moment. This was an amazing moment, and their entrance was absolutely chills. It looked amazing. All the lights were off, the fireflies were out, the championships, the SmackDown Tag Team Championships looked absolutely amazing. They were just shining. This was an amazing entrance in my opinion. It looked amazing. But anyhow, the Wyatt Six came out to confront Pagano and Psycho Clown, and the Wyatt Six absolutely activated their gold beatdown badge, and they absolutely destroyed Pagano and Psycho Clown. They jumped them dudes. Okay, it was like a 5-on-2 at this point. Even Nikki Cross was getting some licks in. So like, they absolutely jumped and beat down Psycho Clown and Pagano, and they even put Pagano and Psycho Clown, both of them, they smashed them through a table. So they left them absolutely laid out, and it seems like the Wyatt Six have their attention set on the AAA Tag Team Championships, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Anyways, after this, we got to our fourth match of the night, and it was a mixed tag team match, and it was Mr. Iguana and Vice City Lola Vice versus the Demon Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez. It was not the Demon Finn Balor, it was just Finn Balor, but there was actually a demon throughout this match. We did see the Demon Finn Balor technically. Anyhow, we got the match, and ringside, we had three people ringside, actually. Three people ringside. So the people we had ringside was Dimenito, if you know, then Laiska, and we even had Raquel Rodriguez ringside. And of the three names I just said, only one of them was human. So Dimenito is Finn Balor's Demon Finn Balor puppet. Laiska, as always, is the stuffed iguana. So this was really fun. And we even got to see Dimenito and Laiska face off, and it was the face off of the century. I've never seen anything so brutal, so vicious. Oh my god, you should not let your kids watch this. If kids were watching with you, hide their eyes, block it, because this got vicious, this got mean, this got ugly, it got gruesome. Matchup of the century. Oh my god, these two puppets went at it. Okay. We even saw Laiska doing a suicide dive onto Dimenito. Like, this was crazy stuff. Okay. Anyhow, this match was just a fun match. It was a fun match, nothing serious. This was an unserious fun match. This match was unserious in the best way. And as always, Mr. Iguana was just pure joy, pure comedy, pure entertainment. And we had Lola Vice bringing out the flair, bringing out her unique moves, her unique, dancey dance, like her emotes and everything. It was just a fun match, like I said. It was fun and unserious. And the Judgment Day even showed up and they did their thing as well, Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez, they did their thing. This was a really fun match, like I said. Fun and unserious. Like in this match, we saw humans fighting, we saw puppets fighting, like I said. This was so unserious in the best way. And at the end of the match, Lola Vice ended up hitting a spinning back fist on Roxanne Perez for the win, and Lola Vice pinned Roxanne Perez. And that was that. After this, we got to our fifth match of the night, and it was the AAA Latin American Championship Fatal 4-Way match. And it was El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Dragon Lee versus Ethan Page versus JD McDonough. And this was undoubtedly match of the night, in my opinion. This was such a good match. This was so entertaining. This was match of the night, The in-ring action was incredible. The reversals, the sequences, the high flying moves, the suicide dives, the heavy hitting moves, we got everything. This match was so entertaining from start to finish. This was the best in-ring match of the whole night, Everyone looked amazing in this match. Everyone looked amazing in this match. And even JD McDonough, he surprised me. Like, he shined so much in this match. He put it all on the line, his heart out on the line. He left it all out in the ring. And JD McDonough looked absolutely incredible in this match. Everyone did their thing, but JD McDonough really surprised me of all people. But anyways, at the end of the match, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. ended up hitting his finisher on JD McDonough for the win, and he retained his AAA Latin American Championship. After this, we finally got to our main event, and it was the AAA Mega Championship match. It was El Hijo del Vikingo versus Dominik Mysterio, Dirty Dominik Mysterio, Dirty Dom. And buddy, Vikingo's speed in the ring is absolutely unmatched. This man was all over the ring in a flash, in the bat of an eye. Like, you blink and you miss it. I'm like, dude, I don't know how he moves around the ring at such speed, with such precision. Like, I don't know, dude. This man has honed his craft to a point where it's just a masterpiece. It's just a chef's kiss. He's so fast, so accurate with like precision. Everything he does. I don't know how he moves the way he does. Like, he's so fast, so accurate. I'm like, oh my god, it's so amazing watching him in the ring. Like, I'm always shocked. This is like my second or third time seeing him in the ring, and like each time I've been more shocked than the last. Like, and that should tell you something. And like I said, he moves so quickly. And let me just say to Dominik Mysterio, this was the best match. This was the best Dominik Mysterio match I've seen to date. To date, this is the best Dominik Mysterio match I've ever seen. He looked amazing in this match. Dominik Mysterio looked like a true star, like he deserved to be in the main event scene. Like, Dominik Mysterio looked like he was in his bag, he was just like, he showed up confidently and absolutely showed out. He was in his environment. Like, he was meant to be there. Like, he looked like a star, looked like a main eventer. Dominik was just in his bag. Like I said, man, he felt like he deserved to be there. He looked like he needed to be there. Like, he should have been there. And it would have been a crime if he wasn't there. Dominik Mysterio absolutely shined, man. This was a star making moment for him. And Vikingo as well was amazing in the ring, as always. The things this man is able to do in the ring, I still can't wrap my head around. But anyways, at the end of the match, we got interference from Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, and even El Grande Americano. And at the end of the match, Dirty Dominik Mysterio was able to use all these distractions to hit a 619 on Vikingo, and then he hit him with a headbutt with a loaded mask, and then a frog splash to put the nail in the coffin for the win. And Dirty Dominik Mysterio ended up pinning Vikingo 1, 2, 3, and Dirty Dominik is a double champion now. He's your WWE Intercontinental Champion and also your AAA Mega Champion. And he's calling himself the king of the luchadors, the greatest Mysterio alive. So yeah, Dominik Mysterio, Dirty Dominik Mysterio, is a double champion now. And this was such an amazing moment. I'm so happy for him, actually. I give Dominik Mysterio a lot of crap. I talk bad about him, saying that he's not doing anything with the Intercontinental Championship. I still stand by that, but this was still an amazing moment, So like, Dominik Mysterio, he's coming into his own, man. He's becoming a star day by day, match by match. So, and I'm happy for him. But anyways, after the match, as agreed on, Rey Mysterio ended up coming out and he crowned his son, Dirty Dominik Mysterio, And this was also an amazing moment, seeing Rey Mysterio putting the AAA Mega Championship around Dominik Mysterio's, waist. I could tell, Rey Mysterio was trying to act like, he hates his son because his son is a heel, whatever. But I could see the proudness in his eyes, I could see the proud father in his face, and I was happy to see it. And I know Rey Mysterio is so proud of his son right now because he's doing amazing work, And Dominik Mysterio, he's gonna be one heck of a star. Dude, that name is gonna be known. If Dominik Mysterio holds on to this path and he keeps being as amazing as he is now, as great as he is now, dude, he's gonna be up there with Rey Mysterio, if not greater. Imagine, dude. But anyhow, that was your whole show. And overall, I would rate Worlds Collide a solid 8 out of 10. Like I said, the matches were absolutely entertaining. And we got funny matches, serious matches, shocking moments, and like I said, countless high flying spots. This was just fun from start to finish, entertaining from start to finish. And I was hooked from start to finish. I enjoyed this from start to finish. This was amazing. And I did not feel like my time was wasted at all. This was such a breath of fresh air. And I loved this. This was so entertaining. And I would say if you don't want to watch the whole thing, it is pretty long. I would say watch the highlights definitely if you want to check it out. This was an amazing, Worlds Collide, amazing pay-per-view or PLE. It's not a PLE, but it was an amazing match card. It was an amazing show. And yeah, anyhow, that's my breakdown and my review. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for hearing me out. And thank you for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Like, comment, subscribe if you'd like to. And like, comment, and subscribe if you choose to. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm out.